A very good morning to all the students of class 12th political science once again here in this lecture. I hope you all are healthy and fit at your homes, and along with it now you need to have a good time management of all your activities throughout the day, where self-study is to be given the most important place in your daily routine. So here I am talking about the self-study mostly, which you have to do it anyhow, as through the online classes we are giving you notes, but most of the efforts are required here by you, as there is unusual situation in the country. Now it is your responsibility and it's our responsibility also, but most of the efforts are required from you to get the good results in all the subjects, I would say here. So I hope you are reading your NCERT books thoroughly, although we are giving you the notes of all the required important topics and all the important points here in these lectures we are going on with the online classes. But I hope you are also reading the chapters properly. It is very important for you to read the chapters. That is why in most of the these videos I am telling you to read the chapters properly. Okay, so today, before starting the fourth point, I would like to remind you what all topics we had already finished till now in till part third so far in this chapter. Mostly, if we are talking about the international organization, I told you the meaning of international organization with a few examples. And later on in this chapter we were studying mostly about the reforms of United Nations because of the changing phase of time, or the time in context we are talking about the contemporary world politics. And though reforms, we had two basic kinds of reforms after Cold War, that is after 1991. We read about reforms of structure and process of UN, and also jurisdiction of the UN organization. So we had studied in detail about these two. I am not going to repeat it. And today, in relation to particularly to India, we are going to do this particular topic, India and the UN reform. What was the role of the India in UN reforms, or what were the opinions and what was the impact of India on UN reforms, and what did India wanted from United Nations. So we are going to do this topic in detail today. So, India and the UN reform. Before I talk of India, I would like to remind you that as we saw that there was a change of circumstances and situation around the world, if we talk in terms of political, economic, social, culturally, in terms of economic and social developments, there were a lot of changes going on after the Cold War, that is after USSR has disintegrated and collapsed and the world was left with only one superpower, that is US. After that, a lot of changes in the fields of economy, society, culture, military, in development. There were a lot of changes around the world. So cope up with those changes and different problems and challenges coming in front of the world at that particular time phase, as I have already told you the problems coming up, including the terrorism. So to cope up and tackle those problems, much requirements were it was much required by UN to make few reforms in its structure and processes and in its jurisdiction to cope up with those problems, as it due to changing time phase, lot of requirements were there for to change the structure of UN. So India has been one of the main founding members, important founding members, when the final UN Charter for the first time was signed. So India had played an important role as a member of the UN. So here India has supported the restructuring of the UN on several grounds. India has always been in support of restructuring, especially after 1991. Of all the member countries, India is also one of the important countries which has always been support of reforms which should be made in UN. On which grounds? So which were the grounds on which India was focusing that because of these reasons there should be changes in the UN. So first was, India believes that it strengthened and revitalized UN is desirable in the changing world. Because of the changing world after 1991, situations were changing all over the world. Here India thought UN needs to be made more strong, Revitalized means strong and active. It should be an organization which should be strong as well as it should be very active, so that it can take actions to the coming up problems. It should have all the plans and policies to cope up with the current situations and problems coming up to the world and all the member countries. So India thought the UN now should be reformed to make it more strengthened and revitalized. Second was here, India also supports an enhanced role of UN in promoting development and cooperation among the states. Here India knows as a centralized organization, and we call it international organization, under which all the member states are dependent on various agencies and groups which are working for international organization to promote development, peace around the world. So India also supports this written role of, so UN has a very important role to promoting development cooperation among the states. So that is why this international organization was, I would say, established, so that there can be a platform where all the member states can cooperate to take decisions, to put out plans and policies and to implement them. So here UN has a very important role. So after Cold War, there was people thought that the UN had become bit inactive, I would say, in its plans and policies. So there was some changes, requirement of some changes, which India has supported here. Along with it, in the third point, India believes that development should be central to the UN agenda. Here India has focused that what should be the main focus of UN should be only focus on development according to India. Whereas we studied when we were studying about the jurisdiction of the organization, where we thought what should be the legal powers and what should be the areas of implementation of UN agencies, in which parts UN should work properly. In that we saw there were two groups of I would say experts who said, one said that they should only focus on peace and development and security, and other group said that they should more focus on humanitarian ground, that is working for the human growth and development. So here on the behalf of India believed that UN should be working on only development. India being a developing country wanted the focus on, and the main agenda of UN should be development. As UN, most of the countries are, I would say, developing countries and underdeveloped countries, where major focus is on development. So here India believes that development should be central to the UN agenda, as it is a vital precondition. Focus on this word. Development, for any development, precondition is international. If we want peace and security in the world, or in any country, or amongst 2 countries or 10 countries, or among the neighboring countries, we want to bring or promote peace and security, what is the precondition? Development. If development will be there, there will be no tension, no conflict, no wars, no rivalries between the developing countries or underdeveloped countries or developed countries. So the main problem is development. If there is no development, there will be no peace and no security. There will be always a situation of tension, conflict and war around the world. So the India thought that UN's main agenda should be development, because if UN will work for the development and promoting development, automatically it will bring peace and security around the world. So this was India's belief. Now here, moving forward, this is one important point here. One of India's major concern has been the composition of the Security Council. As when we were reading about the I would say reforms in the structural organization process of UN, in that we were only studying mostly about Security Council, that is the permanent and non-permanent members of the United Nations Security Council. So here India's major concern focus is on Security Council. UN Security Council has remained largely, here India says Union Security Council has remained largely static, means which has not changed. It is as it is. It is not flexible. While the UN General Assembly, if we talk about Security Council, it has been static. There has been no changes from so many years. But if we talk about UN General Assembly, membership have extended considerably. What is General Assembly? All the members who have signed the charter or become the member of UN are the part of General Assembly, and they have 1 vote each. And I told you there were 193 members currently in 2011. But in 1945, when the charter was signed, there were only 51 countries. At that time, they had decided that there will be few permanent members and few non-permanent members, and all the member states of UN will be taking part in the General Assembly. But there has been no changes in this total number. There are total number 15 members in the Security Council. Out of 193, only 15 members. And out of these 15, 5 are permanent. In 1965, they were made 15. Before that, there were only 11 members. Till 1965, after the establishment of UN, in 1965 there were total 11 permanent and non-permanent members. But after that, in 1965, they were increased to 15. But after 1965 till date 2020, there has been no changes at all in the structure of the Security Council of the United Nations. So here, as we had already studied about Security Council, so most of the member states wants reform in the Security Council, because here it's written, 5th point, India supports the role of developing countries. Here what India feels is the role of developing countries is very important in the United Nations Security Council. So India here feels that most of the developing countries should also be the part of Security Council, because it's written here, see, should be represented in the Security Council in decision making, because whatever the decisions are made, and most of the developing countries are affected by them, so they should have the role in shaping the decisions of the Security Council. Since they are not the member of Security Council, they are just the member of General Assembly. They don't have any role to take decisions on the behalf of developing countries. So here India supports the role of developing countries should be represented in the Security Council in decision making. For decision making, role of developing countries should be increased. Now that's why I've written here, role in shaping the decision in the Security Council which affect them. Those decisions which affect the developing countries, in those decisions developing countries should have a upper hand in the decision making. But it is not so far done in the Security Council. So talking of India here, next point, 6th point is, India supports an increase in number of both permanent and non-permanent members. So talking of the reforms which India want in the structure and process of UN, the most important is India wants the increase in number of the permanent and non-permanent members, which has not changed after 1965, which was 11 members till 1965, which has increased to only 15 members, as there are total number of 193 members and only 15 are the parts of this Security Council here. So here most of the countries like India, developing countries, feel that they don't have any proper representation given in the UN organization, as it promotes democracy, equality, but there is a problem in the structure of the Security Council. That's why they need some reform in the changing phase of time. The 7th point is an important part. Not surprisingly, here after India wants such reforms, so here it's written, not surprisingly, India itself also wishes to be a permanent member. India thinks that it should be a permanent member of the United Nations in a restructured UN. Restructured, new reforms which will be made under United Nations, in that permanent membership should be given to India also, as India fulfills all the conditions as follows. Which were the preconditions? What were the categories, or I would say situations given, or the conditions put by, I told you in that particular part, if you remember, Kofi Annan. In this part I told you, 1st January 1997, UN Secretary General Kofi Annan initiated an inquiry. Here Kofi Annan initiated an inquiry that how the Security Council members be chosen. So there were certain points given regarding that a country should be a major economic power, a major military power, a substantial contributor to UN budget, a big nation in terms of its population, a nation that respects democracy and human rights. So these were few of the preconditions or the points put by Kofi Annan's I would say Security Council for the selection of the Security Council here members. So here India thinks it can be a permanent member on the grounds of India is the most populous country in the world with 1/5 of the world population. As we know, India has the second largest population after China, and India covers around 1/5 of the world population, and it counts up to 17% of the whole world population is in India. So one condition that is India fulfills is the population wise. Second is India is world's largest democracy. As we know, after independence, many countries around the world, developed countries also, after the independence, where there the Constituent Assembly was forming the Constitution of India, and India has decided that it will work on the democratic method of functioning. So around the world, people thought that this country will be divided into many parts, and there was a problem of lot of diversity in terms of language, culture, religion, language, okay, and so they thought that it would not be possible to run a democratic form of government in such a country where there is so much of diversity. But India proved the whole world wrong, and India is one of the largest democracy working currently around the world. So this is the second point. Third is the India's economic emergence on the world stage. Here currently India is a developing country, and it has a very good economic growth in all the sectors. If we talk about in terms of technology, if we talk about the infrastructure and all the development, if we talk about employment, everywhere it is showing a good economic in terms of trade, commerce, imports, exports. Okay, Fourth is India is a regular financial contributor to UN. India has never been late on its payments which it makes to the UN for the running of the different specialized agencies working for the development of all the member states around the world. Okay, so India has made the regular to the financially, it has been supporting UN regularly. Next is India signifies a growing importance in world affairs in conduct of its foreign policy. Here what India says, if India becomes a permanent member of the United Nations, it will have a very positive impact on the foreign policy. India will be more powerful, and it will have more influence around the world, and very soon it will be a developed countries from a developing countries. The growth rate will be much more increased and faster as compared to developing countries if India becomes a permanent member of the Security Council. It will be more powerful and influential. India has participated in virtually all the initiative of the UN. If we talk about the initiative, plans, policies put by the UN for the promotion and development and bringing peace and stopping the war around the world, India has played a very important role in cooperating with United Nations. All initiatives like peacekeeping agencies and the peacekeeping and many troops sent around the world for the peacekeeping, India has always been supportive to United Nations. Now look at point number 8. This is very important. So these were few of the conditions I told you, A, B, C, D, E, F. These all were the conditions, or we can say the preconditions, which India also thinks that it is validated to be a permanent member of United Nations. But some countries does not want India to become a veto power. Veto power means a permanent member, because veto power is only given to the permanent members. So countries like Pakistan doesn't want a neighboring country where the relations are not good at all. There are a lot of conflicts. Along with Pakistan, many other countries like India has many conflicts with the neighboring countries and around the world also due to various other reasons. So these countries doesn't want India to become a veto power, because and other reason is also Indian nuclear weapon capabilities. In 1998, India has tested its nuclear test in Pokhran, Rajasthan. So India is a nuclear weapon country. So this also stops many of the countries from India becoming a veto power or a permanent member. Something. And other countries and the members thinks that its difficulties with Pakistan will make India ineffective as a permanent member, as India has so much of internal disturbance and external disturbance with the boundary issues with like China, Pakistan. So it will be very difficult for India to act as a permanent member of Security Council. So the many members think that India will be ineffective as a permanent member, because most of the time it will be busy with the own internal and external problems and disturbance going around India. So this is another reason given that India should not be a permanent member. If India is included, some emerging powers like Brazil, Germany, Japan and South Africa will also be accommodated. Here they are saying, if India, on the basis of the precondition which India fulfills, like most populous country, most largest democracy, India's economic emergence in the world stage, regular financial contributor to the UN, etc. So because of these fulfilling of these conditions, India cannot be given the permanent seat in the United Security Council, because like India, are other countries also which are in the developing phase: Brazil, Germany, Japan, and South Africa. So they shall also be given the accommodated in the Security Council. So along with India, there will be many countries, developing countries, which will also question for the permanent seat in the Security Council. So these are some of the points where we feel some of the countries as a member state don't want India to become a veto power or a permanent member of the Security Council. Moving forward to the 11th point here, Africa and South America must be represented, for they do not have any representative in the present structure. Here many suggest that Africa and South Africa as the continent, these two are the continents where no country are the members of Security Council or the permanent member of the Security Council. So here member states want there should be a representation of these two continents also in the Security Council. That's why I have written here Africa and South America must be represented, for they do not have any representation in the present structure. As in the present structure of the Security Council, the members are included from each continent, but there are two continents from which there is no country as a member of Security Council, that are Africa and South America. So in the coming future, when there will be changes, reforms made in the this United Nations Security Council, so it should be looked upon that Africa and South America continents are given representation here. So it's written, given these concern in relation to UN. So all the points we have studied relation to UN and what India thinks what should be the reforms in UN, especially for the developing countries. Here more representation should be given to the these developing countries, because out of 193 maximum countries after I would say 1991, after Cold War, most of the countries are developing countries which have joined this United Nations as the member, but they are not given equal representation here. So the role of developing countries is to be enhanced here. It may not be very easy for India. So after reading all these points, it may not be easy for India or any other developing countries to be a permanent member of the UN in near future. So we can, after reading all these points, we can see that there has been no changes after 1965. There were only 11 permanent members of the Security Council. After that, there has been no changes till date. Of course, people and members are continuously, they are supporting the reforms which should be made in the United Nations, but till date there has been no changes. The structure has been static. There is no flexibility at all. So although many countries are fulfilling all the required needs and demands which are required to be a permanent member of the Security Council, but still they are not being called as the member of the Security Council. Okay, so this is the end of this particular topic, and after that I shall be taking the last topic of this particular chapter. Till then, thank you, take care.